welcome to my channel, Hood Parenting. I'm your host, Yasheka Foster. Today we have one for the children, okay? For the children. Now, like I said, like I always say, parents can watch it, of course, right? But for the young adults, this one is for, so when I say the children, I'm not talking about 18 and older. Under. When I say for the children, I'm not talking about young kids. I'm talking about those young adults who have gotten out on their own or who are transitioning to that stage of being on their own, and maybe they missed some things, or maybe they didn't have, an adult to kind of teach them. Maybe they didn't have parents. Maybe they grew up in a group home. Maybe their parents worked a lot. Maybe their parents, whatever, or maybe your parents just forgot to tell you some things, right? So when I say that my videos are for the children, I don't mean actual children. I'm talking about young adults who are at that age where they still need some encouraging words. They still need advice, and they still need somebody to just say some things to them that maybe they haven't heard before, right? Because my channel is, listen, it's not for everybody. Everyone's not going to get here and say, okay, I've gotten my whole life together because I watch Hood Parenting. Now, here's the thing. I believe that's possible, but I'm biased though, right? I'm biased, okay? I believe that you can watch my whole channel and get your whole life in order. But again, I'm biased, right? And here's the thing, even if there's something that I don't cover, if you drop me a message down below or tag me on any of the other social platforms, trust me, I will make a whole video about it, okay? I will make a whole video about it, all right? Because I want to be able to lend my experience and my education and my credentials and all those things and let you guys know, just not like a solution to your problem, but just the way I endured maybe that situation or situation similar, or people around me endured it, or my own children went through it, or whatever. And it's just a way for you to see different sides or consider different avenues, right? All right, so I hope that clears some things up for people out there. So today I want to talk about 3 important basic skills that young adults need to know, right? And here's the thing, I say need to know. I'm not going to say should, because to tell a person that they should know something, right, that's subjective, right? It's subjective. So for me, I'm just going to say need to know, okay? All right, wink, wink, you need to know, all right? So 3 important basic skills that young adults need to know. Number 1, financial literacy. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you as an 18 or 19-year-old that it doesn't benefit you to know about, investing and stocks and things like that, because those things are important. Okay. But let's just get the basic skills down packed first, right? And some of those basic skills will include things such as a simple budget, right? A simple budget. And a budget also means that spending your money in a way that it's going to go further, okay? Let me give an example. Y'all know I like to give examples, okay? So I know a particular child, right, who idea of getting lunch or dinner is going to and I'm not going to say child. Let me rephrase that. I know a particular young adult whose idea of getting what they need is running to the corner store Wawa's or running to like a 7-Eleven or something like that, right? Because in their mind, they're just going to go in there and grab something. But here's the thing. When you're going in there for, let's just say, in the afternoon, like let's just say for lunch, you might grab a bag of chips or you might grab a sandwich or something like that, right? It might cost you about $10. You add a drink to it, it's about $10, right? Then you go back there later on that evening for dinner time, and you might grab something else, right? It might not even be something that you necessarily want to use as a meal. It might just be a snack. So now you spend another $4 or $5, right? Now, mind you, you still got to eat. You still got to eat your meals in between that. You still got to eat your meals. So what I'm saying to you is it adds up. Instead of you going to the corner store several times a day or several times a week to buy things that you can buy in bulks, right? So you should be going to the grocery store. And if you want chips, go to the grocery store, buy a big bag, buy the little bitty bags that come in like 32 in a pack or something like that. Then that way you can kind of budget them and say, okay, here's enough to last me the whole month. So if I eat one bag a month, one bag a day, and there's 32 bags in a bag, and I don't have to buy chips for the whole month, right? You see how that potentially saves you money, right? So having financial literacy not only means budgeting, but it also means making sure that you can put your money somewhere, or you're spending your money in a way where it goes further for you through the week, right? Because that's important, right? If you know that you have to budget your gas, right? Because you got to pay for gas, and gas is expensive, honey. Let me tell you something. It ain't just if you put 91 in your tank or 93, even 87 is sometimes $4 and $5, depending on where you are, right? What state you're in. Ain't nobody got time to be putting gas in their car all the time, especially running all around town. So when it comes to putting gas in your car, set yourself up on a budget. If you know that it takes you X amount of dollars to get either to work and or to school, if you have your own personal car, then how much does that mean that I have to set aside for the week, right? If that's $50 or $60 or whatever the case may be, then keep that budget set for that. And if you're going over it, right, then, okay, where am I going to pull that overage from? Maybe I'm going to have to not eat out one time this week, or maybe I'm going to have to not buy a snack or buy that cappuccino from Starbucks or whatever, right? So that's how you budget your money and set yourself up, right? And of course, there are so many ways to do it, but those are just the basics. Those are just the basics when it comes to financial literacy, budgeting, and making sure that your money, lasts you longer, right? Because money don't grow on trees. Let me tell you something. I have been to Hobby Lobby. I have been to Home Depot. I have been to, what's the other one? I can't think of the name of them, but Home Depot in the other place, right? Where you buy stuff for your yard, right? I've been to both of those places. I ain't never saw a money tree. I never went up in there and saw a money tree, because I'm telling you right now, the day they sell money trees, I'm going to be in line and I'm buying all the trees. I'm buying all the trees. But until then, we have to keep making good decisions with our money, right? Because let me tell y'all something, it does not grow on trees. And as you get older and you get further along in your adulthood, you can't be going to your parents and borrow money all the time, because they're trying to get to retirement. They're trying to make sure that they got a nest egg for themselves so they could take those vacations and do all those things that they wanted to do when y'all was kids, okay? So they can't keep on doggone financing your lifestyle. You didn't went out here and you want to take a trip, or you didn't spend all your money because there was a concert, or you want this new outfit or this latest iPhone, and then you want your parents to take up the slack for you. No. When you guys get a certain age, you have to start thinking about consequences to your actions in terms of your money. Point blank, period. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Now, the caveat to it is if you blue ivy, or if you are, what's her name? Northwest. If you blue ivy or Northwest or Surrey Cruise or whatever Rihanna's not, if those are, listen, if them your parents, hey, you ain't got the budget. You ain't got to do nothing you don't want to do pertaining to money, because you got trees in the back, okay? You got trees in the backyard. But for everybody else who your last name ain't Rockefeller or Kennedy or hell, even Schwarzenegger or Trump at this point, if that ain't your last name, budget your money, all right? Now, number two. Basic cooking. Now, this doesn't include just, let me start all over. I'm not saying that ramen noodles is not something that you cook, because technically you do. Technically, if you put some water on a boiler instead of on the stove, and if you put the ramen noodles in there, that is cooking. It's as basic as it gets, minus boiling an egg. But it's cooking, okay? Because if not, the noodles will be raw. So you had to cook them so they're no longer raw, so you cook. But 18, 17, yep, you good with ramen noodles, right? Especially if you're a freshman in college, okay? But the more and more you grow, the more and more you're going to need just a little bit more nourishment, okay? So you got to know basic cooking, okay? You got to know that if you want to fry something, that you got to put it in things in order for it to fry. Now, here's the thing. You ain't got to do that no more, okay? They got air fryers now. You can buy you an air fryer, right? You don't even have to put no flour on no chicken or on no pork chops, none of that. You can put some seasoning on it after you wash it off, and put it in the air fryer and let the air fryer do the thing, right? You can eat it just like that. Set it on 20 minutes, depending on the thickness, and it's good to go. Okay, that's it. That's all. You ain't got to worry about it. Okay, and if you want to put flour on your chicken and put it in the air fryer, you can do that too, because it'll still come out crispy. Now, will it taste the same as if I put it in some hot grease? No, that's not necessarily. Okay, but you'll still have you some fried chicken. I'm just saying. But you got to know the basics. You got to know the basics. You got to know a little bit about seasonings. You got to know about if you mix this and this, it's going to taste like this. You got to know if you over salt something, what do you do to balance it out? You got to know if you under salt something, what do you do to balance it out? You got to know if you put too much pepper in something, what do you do to balance that out? You got to know if you add too much water in your rice, how do you make it unsticky, right? You got to know basic things, okay? Nobody said you got to be Gordon Ramsay, or Chef Boyardee or nobody like that. But the basic skills of cooking, and also know how to follow a simple recipe, because even if you don't know how to necessarily cook on your own and be creative, you can go on any social platform and follow a recipe. You can print off any recipe. They're over the internet. You can print them off. And if you know the basic understanding of cooking, then you will be able to understand when they say bring to a simmer, or bring the oven to a certain degrees, or make sure you test it for this, or bring out your thermostat and make sure the meat is this. If you understand basic things, you can find it out. But here's the thing, even if you don't know those things, if no one else have taught you, there are platforms that you can go and look those things up, right? There are platforms, there are books, there are friends, there are families, there are even strangers, right? That you might not even know that well, that if you ask the right person the right questions, they'll tell you how to do something. Because I've given out my sweet potato pie recipe a couple of times, okay? Now, that was my grandmama's sweet potato pie recipe. And I don't particularly like giving it out, and when I give it to them, I don't give them the whole recipe. I kind of hold something back. I give them my version of it. I don't give them my grandmama's, right? But what I'm saying is that I'm willing to give it to anybody, is what I'm saying. Because if they want to make a sweet potato pie, I'm going to tell them how to make one, right? I'm going to give them the basics. Now, they want to juke it up and make it their own. They got to do their own thing. I'm not going to give them the family secret, but I'm giving them basic instructions on how to make a sweet potato pie. See where I'm going with this? Okay. Because strangers will help you as well. You can put a comment below, say, hey, Yasheka, tell me, what do I do about this? And I may not do an illustration video for you, to how to cook a casserole or how to make lasagna. I may not do none of that, but I can surely find you some good old links that I think that is basic, that I could put up in there for you. And then that way you can cook whatever you need to cook. So you won't be starving, and you won't have to keep running down to the stove. And then you affect the first one that I told you about budgeting your money, because you don't know how to cook and you always got to go to Wawa's and buy a sandwich. You see how all that's connected to each other, right? You learn how to cook. You ain't got to spend as much money. That means you could budget better. Right? You see how all that's connected together? And that brings me to my number 3. Basic laundry skills. You have to know basic laundry skills. Okay. You got to know how to divide your laundry up, where you got your colors and your whites, and then you got your doggone, your intimates, or you have your towels, or however you do it. You have your laundry, your sheets and stuff, your blankets, however you do it in your house. But all I'm saying to you is the basic is simply this. If you put your white clothes in with the dark clothes, then the white clothes is going to come out dingy. Okay. That's basic skills. If you add bleach to your color clothes, then you're going to bleach your color clothes white. That's a basic skill. Okay. If you add hot water to something that's delicate, it probably will shrink. That's the basic. Okay. If you don't good washing powder to make sure your clothes come clean, and you go down here to the dollar store and buy that cheap detergent, your clothes more than likely not going to smell that good. Okay. I'm just saying, especially if you out here playing football or running track and you got some strong underarm stuff, right? You can't be going down to the dollar store and buying that off-brand detergent, and because you're trying to get more for your dollar, right? And then you go wash your clothes, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to ruin your clothes eventually. They're going to have permanent stains in them, right? Smelling stains. And then on top of that, you're going to have to replace them. So that's another way to save money, to make sure that you wash your clothes properly so that you can retain them. And for the things that have to be hung up, you hang those things up. For the things that need bleach, you add bleach. For the things that don't need bleach, you don't add bleach. Okay. When it says to hang dry something, you hang dry. Just because you want to wear it tonight and you feel like if you dry it, then it'll be ready and dry for the night. No, because what's going to happen is you're going to shrink it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to shrink it, and then you ain't going to be able to wear it. Okay, so if the things say hang dry, you hang dry because there's a reason why there's instructions on there. And if you're unsure, look at the back of the tag on your clothes. I know some of y'all cut it off because it itch you. Okay, that's what my kids tell me anyway. It itch you. They cut it off. Okay. Now, if you got some clothes, like some of y'all like to shop at some of these stores, like, whatever, cheap clothes, it may not come with a tag in it about how to wash it, because what they're pretty much telling you is wash it in cold water and don't dry it. Because if you wash it in hot water and dry, it's going to shrink. So for those young women out here that might be ordering all these old clothes and they cheap or whatever, if it don't have no tag in the back, that means it's basic. Wash it in cold water and don't doggone hang it up. And you're probably only going to get a couple of washes out of it before it's no longer to be wearable anymore without looking presentable. You know what I'm saying? Starting to, come undone on the sides or whatever, right? And so that's why it's important to put quality in your stuff, take care of your stuff, so you ain't got to worry about budgeting for your clothing allowance for the month or for the quarter or for the year, right? Right. And that way you can just say, okay, you know what? My clothes are good. I just need a black pair of pants, or I just need a white shirt, some basic to add to it until I get my money the way I want to get my money. Because I'm telling you, listen, children, listen, young people. I won't say children, I'll say young people. Listen, young people. It's hard out here. Okay. There was a time back in my grandparents' generation where a person could make, I don't even think my grandfather made $5,000 a year. I don't even think he made $5,000 a year. If he did, he may made $6,000 a year at one point. I don't remember. But what I do know is he had to take care of 12 kids and a wife on that salary. And he had a good job, what was considered a good job back then. Okay. So nowadays, $6,000 for a whole year won't even take care of a family of 4 necessarily for a whole month. Right. And if so, it's just taking care of the basic necessities. You got food, you got water, you got shelter. You might have McDonald's maybe once a week or something. That's it. $6,000 in today's economy with 4 people doesn't go far, especially when you got to pay for childcare in order to get them $6,000, right? It doesn't go far. So it's important to save your money, budget your money, take care of your things, because you don't know when you're going to get it again. Now, as stuff start coming in, you can start trading out. As you start making more money and you get more independent and you flourishing and you can spread your wings and you ain't a helicopter kid, or excuse me, not a helicopter kid, and you're not what they call a boomerang kid, and you keep coming back to your parents' house. Hey, as long as y'all stay out there once you move out and you're doing your thing, these are 3 important basic skills that you need to know as a young adult. Make sure you know about simple budgeting, make sure you know about basic cooking, and make sure you know basic laundry skills, because if not, in the long run, it's going to cost you more money and more pain, right? And you don't want that. Thank you so much for watching. If this video is not for you, share with somebody that you think needs to hear what I have to say. All right. Thank you for watching Hood Parenting. I'm your host, Yasheka Foster. Turn on your notifications so you can catch me when I load the next one. Bye.